and this is something that I was bringing to the executive committee. And it's, the reason this has kind of been every time. Wait a minute. Oh, I'm sorry. Flowers and memorials. I'm skipping that one. Sorry about that. I apologize. I was waiting. I was like, no, wait a minute. We have something else. This this situation obviously came up. I first heard about it from a watchdog group out of Southern Illinois that has all of Illinois as their turf, if you will. Objecting to the fact that we were using taxpayer money on flowers for board members and the board members' immediate relatives, but also the fact that that other departments, they assumed it was only administration, and it was many departments were sending flowers. For some reason, they only focused on the county board, which seems to be the case for most people. But a lot of departments actually were sending flowers, frankly, a lot more than we were. So the question that I'm putting to you is, and that's why I put in what our policy was, the one that was updated pending approval. We didn't show that it was ever approved anywhere. We're digging through the dusty files, and we basically had an understanding of what it was, and I'm throwing it to the board. Do you want to continue this policy to allow it just for administration departments? Because as we know, other elected department heads can do what they will. We can have a policy against it, and that they can still, they're statutorily, they can spend the lump sum that we give them any way that they choose. What we choose is how much we give them next year. So that's kind of where our involvement comes in. So I'll just throw that to the committee for any discussion that you have. Should we have an amount? Should we not have an amount? Should we have no policy whatsoever and not allow it for administration? That's where I'm at. So, Mr. Byrne?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I don't see a problem with this. In the private sector, businesses do it. If an employee lost a loved one, if there's a cap we can put on it to make it a minimal expense, but I don't see why we shouldn't. If someone is going through a hard time, to express ourselves to them if we need to, and it may be limited to immediate family. Where does it end?
That's kind of where it's at. It's already at immediate.
Yeah, and I think it's appropriate that we have something like that.
Mr. Tripp.
Another board member and I have coffee with a bunch of people, and I just threw that out there. What do you think we should do? And they all said, "This, don't do it."
Don't do it.
Don't do it. I don't have any problem with it either way, but just listening to them, 8 or 10 of them.
So they're saying don't spend our tax money on flowers.
Yes.
Okay.
I was kind of surprised in a way.
Sure. Mr. Snipes?
With me, I guess because it was brought up to me because they got a question of as far as these expenditures was concerned, and he was following a policy that we didn't have policy, or that the policy didn't expand to approving of a flower being sent in certain circumstances, or at least identifying who a family member and an employee is. For deaths, I believe that we need to. I think that's just, if I'm here or we've done it in the past, whether it's employee of the county or county board, period, I think that needs to be done. Where I have the problem with is, while it's plausible to say, welcome with the new baby, I don't think we need to be saying anything for a baby or whatever as far as that's concerned. I think, it's probably, we can do that personally if we like, but I'm thinking the thing now, I'm trying to distinguish what is the difference between death and memorial. Are we sending to a memorial fund in the on behalf of the board to whatever memorial that this person is? I think in that case, I would probably say not. I will probably send the flower, or unless they say and or whatever. If the person says in lieu of flowers, send it to the memorial, then I can go with that, in the honor. But
To answer your question, just specifically, sometimes they say in lieu of flowers, send a memorial to the American Cancer Society.
right, or something like
So
that.
that's when that would
pop in.
typically
That's
have
what I
done
was
it.
saying.
That's-
In lieu of one or the other,
Mhm.
I think that would be okay as far as that's concerned. Hospitalization, you know, I was in there for a good day or two for one time in my life or whatever, and I didn't think you all really dissed me because I didn't get a flower while I was up in there. But I'm just saying, right? I'm just saying the hospitalization part or whatever. You know, if our committee, I mean, if you can, the benevolent can send a card, I think that will be more appropriate or whatever as far as that's concerned. Flowers tend to die after a while. Cards are still there, but for the purpose of death, I do think that we should have a policy where we do, in fact, send something as far as the flowers or to the immediate family that's identified, because I don't want you to have 3 or 4 grandmothers or things, and I know that's not the case, but I'm just saying, if we're saying a family member, I think we need to identify those family members so it's not the 3rd, 4th, 15th cousin. So with some guidance, I think the death is fine, and whether or not it goes from the death to the memorial, I have no objections to. But the birth and the hospitalization, I'm thinking, nothing more than just a card. As far as flowers is concerned, looking at your budgets and things of this nature, I'm kind of want to refrain from those. But death, I can go with.
All right. Any other thoughts on this as far as? Yeah, I was having a conversation with Anita this morning, and we kind of brought it up before. You know, we're not a business, obviously. You know, businesses do this stuff all the time, but they're not funded by taxpayers. But we still do have HR obligations, and we want to hire and keep the best employees. And when these types of situations happen, this isn't advocating. I'm just mentioning it as part of the thought process. Is that, maybe it's something that adds to keeping and attracting the best employees we can for the county, knowing that the people that they work for and with care about them. But again, this isn't a business, so you always try to balance those two things. You know, we're not here to make a profit. We're here to wisely spend the taxpayers' money. So I have my own thoughts on that, and I'll express it when I vote. But if there is a motion on the floor at some point, or if we're just gonna smile at each other all day. So I don't know if anybody has any other thoughts about this or is ready to make some sort of motion on this. Mr. Tripp?
Isn't this an item for finance more?
It's a policy issue right now.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, we're the policy
Gotcha.
body.
Okay.
But the policy, well, I will make the motion that we can update the flower fund to limit to just the death and memorial. But a $50 saving bond I can't do, and the hospitalization I can't do. So my motion will stand to update the policy to for expenditure to for the policy to be amended to include the death and memorial.
For employee and for spouse, parent, child, brother, sister of an employee?
For
The way, because we have to. It's
immediate family, and so that'd be it can be the spouse, not the grandma, the spouse, or the employee, or the employee's spouse. You can.
All right,
Would you, I think that.
Mr. Vickery, could you, in the microphone?
Yeah.
As outlined in the Flower Fund presentation before us, I think that covers the base, covers all the bases. Not immediate family member. The county board chairman may grant up to $25 in an unusual circumstance.
That's too vague.
That's the old one.
It's pretty big.
I say that's the one, I kind of like the wording on that. I mean,
Can I ask a question? And your motion stands as I ask the question, and then we'll look for a second. Is it proper to vote whether we keep it or get rid of it? And then if we keep it, amend it after that to what you're saying?
Well, mine is that we amend it. So my motion would be that we will amend it.
Okay.
And that way it doesn't negate it because there is some good in it. And it doesn't absolutely, do away with it or keep it as it is. It just says,
Sure.
let's amend it. And then we can kind of come up with, how we want it amended. But the motion would be that we look at it and amend it, but limit it to death and memorials, not the birth and hospitalization. Not to stop them, but a car can be sent. It's just that I don't want flowers to be sent.
Because right now our cap, I believe, is 40.
Yeah.
Or I'm sorry. Right, because it's been 40, and I just pay the amount that's above 40 is what I've been doing internally out of my pocket. But so you're saying remove those things, and make it 50 for everything.
No, what I'm saying is if we come to the agreement, I'm eliminating the birth $50 saving
Right,
bond.
right. We eliminate.
And the hospitalization. I am keeping the death and memorial.
Right, and those are two different dollar amounts, I guess, is what I'm saying.
Oh, okay,
Do you want to make those both 50?
Yeah, we need to put it wherever that it will feel comfortable. I don't know the flower rate. I know when they send them out, the basic ones you can get, they're at 40 would be way under.
It's hard to find.
So right. So what I'm saying is that we have to amend that up to whatever the kind of the cost is now. So 40. I have no objection between someone has 70 and the $5 delivery charge. I have no objection in that.
So your motion is for 70?
Yes, as is written in the death, and then just equalize. But the memorial is where I would have.
Okay, I'm sorry. I was looking at the one that actually is on the file that we have to amend, not the one that was proposed and was never accepted. This is the one we're dealing with here because that's the one that's in our policy book.
Okay, so
The
what
one
I'm
that was
looking at.
updated in 2004 but never approved, I have to
Right.
almost ignore that exists. Does that make sense? Because this is what's in our book now.
Okay, so if it's in there, that doesn't stop us from amending it to the up to what is the current rate of a flower right now?
It's
Have we
40.
been paying?
It's
It's 40?
Yeah.
I'm talking about that's what we've been.
That's what we've been doing, and it was done by voice. The former chairman said, do we want to keep it at 40? I don't know if you remember some of those meetings.
Yeah.
But there was nothing codified about
Right, but that I want to kind of bring it up. I'm talking about what does it cost us now
Upgraded to what it costs.
to call? Yeah, I want to kind of.
Current market value.
You're right.
Is it around 50 for just a small whatever?
That's minimal.
It was
It's
60
like
or
60
65
something. Yeah.
because it was out of town. Couldn't find anything for 40.
No,
No,
you won't even find a basket for that.
70.
So that's why I looked at the 70 that they had here in I just looked at the difference.
Okay, and it's for both instances. If it's
Right.
an
In
employee
lieu of if they so
or
choose.
an immediate, spouse, parent, child, brother, sister of an employee.
Right.
Not parent. I don't see. Oh, parent. Sorry.
You got parent in
yeah,
there.
parents in there. So it's 50 for everything. That's your motion.
That would be my motion.
Okay. Is there a second to that motion?
I thought we were going to upgrade it from
We did upgrade it from the 40. Well, they didn't go 75. We went 70.
It's 70
Right.
then for both.
Yeah, 70.
Okay, 70.
70 is where we went.
Clarify that for me, would you?
The motion is that the only memorials or flowers that would be sent would be for the death, and this is just administration. That's the policy that we can enforce. In the death of an employee, we'll update the wording because there is no benefits coordinator anymore. That's Anita. She wears lots of hats. Responsible for sending either memorial or flowers in the amount of approximately $70. I guess that approximately leaves us tax if it's 72 and shipping.
Yeah.
In the death of a spouse, parent, child, brother,
$5
sister,
delivery.
of an employee, same. So it's 70. So that's the County Board Chair, 25 flowers, family member not listed. We're going to strike that altogether.
Right.
That last one?
Right.
Okay. All right, so we have a motion on the floor. Does that clarify?
Yeah.
Okay. Is there a second to that? Mr. Washington? Any more discussion? Okay, I
Roll
guess
call.
it can be.
I'm not quite sure what we're
I
voting.
think it should be a roll call vote.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mr. Tripp,
Aye.
Mr. Washington,
Aye.
Mr. Vickery,
Aye.
Mr. Snipes,
Aye.
Mr. Byrne,
Aye.
Ms. Weber, Mr. Wheeler.
I'm just saying that
Nay.
the one that was here, updated,
Yeah, he said that we weren't considering that.
You voting
We were
nay?
looking
I'm
at
voting
this,
nay.
and I moved
I think we should strike it all together.
Oh,
my
I,
opinion.
I would vote for that. I just want to be cooperative.
No, I understand. So we're going to send this on to the full board with the vote as the way it is. So, okay, now I can move on. The reason that I put this advisory referendum in front of you is because there's a lot going on in Springfield, and there's a lot not going on in Springfield.